Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here today when it's so awesome outside. It's beautiful. That center of our beingness is that place from which everything else happens. You know, it's our own little internal Big Bang on the inside. From that place, all things happen. All of our creativity happens. All of our changes happen. And they don't happen because we go on the inside and that critical part of us is sitting there waiting to go, okay, you need to change this, and you need to change this, and you need to change this, and you need to change this. And there's that other thing, but we'll get to that one. You've got all these other things to take care of first. It's that place where we know that all is well. It's all good. That place of acceptance, of compassion. And from there, we can see, okay, from that place, now I can make happen those things out here that I want to happen. I just got back from Mexico last night, and part of it was a retreat, and part of it was just for fun. My internal doctor said I needed some vitamin D, and I'm obedient, so we had some fun. But on there was this thing, this symbol painted on, it was painted on a sidewalk, it was painted on the street, and it was this square with a dot in the middle and an arrow pointing at each direction. Now, I took 6 years of French, so I had no idea what this meant in Mexico, right? So, and I couldn't ask anybody. So I'm just like, what does this mean? You know, like, it wasn't like you are here because now you can go anywhere. It was like you're here and you just have to stay put. Because all the arrows are pointing to that dot and there's no place else to go, right? So I found out later that it's for a meeting point, right? Because we're in kind of a touristy area, and you know, if people, you know, hey, if you get lost, go to the square with the dot and the arrows all around and just stay put. You know, and I can just see a little kid kind of finding the dot and following the arrows, right? Which is just kind of going around in a circle, staying put. That's our meeting point inside of us, right? In the center of your heart is your meeting point for infinite possibilities. And I was thinking between services, I'm like, you know, this is a lot more abstract than I had originally thought in my mind. So I really wanted to give you this opportunity to have a concrete experience of that place inside of you where you are simply okay. Perfect. Perfect. You know, one of the things I've been doing the last few years is studying a tool for my therapy practice called brain spotting. Brain spotting is awesome because it's an emotional healing tool, but one of the byproducts of people when they do brain spotting is that it's a focused mindfulness process. So they become more aware of what's going on inside of them. And that's not even the point of it. It just happens. You can't not see what's going on when you take time to reflect on that. I remember going to my first training, and I was kind of nervous because I really don't like hanging out with therapists, you know, besides myself. You know, I've gone to different continuing education things, and I just haven't resonated with anybody. I haven't found my therapy people, you know. And so I'm on my way to this training, and it was 3 days, 8 hours a day of intensive hanging out with therapists. It's like, oh, I hope this brain spotting thing is really cool because the rest of it just does not sound good. You know, are they going to like me? You know, my peers? Are they going to, you know, am I going to like them? And da-da-da-da. And I'm like, Lynn, just stop. Stop. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. And see what happens. See what shows up. And I've created this beautiful therapy family community that I actually like a whole lot. And it's been awesome. And, you know, so I've kind of taken that, and when I work with clients, I'll say, you know, if you take the situation that you're talking about, and you make the assumption that you're okay just as you are, how does that situation look differently? So I want to invite you right now just to take something that's a little stressful, you know, on a day like this. If you can think of something that's a little stressful, think of just something that's a little stressful and go, okay, if I were okay just as I am, and the situation is just what it is, and I'm okay, how would I approach it differently? And hopefully you can get a feeling of just a little bit of empowerment in there, a little bit of like, okay, yeah, this is hard. Yeah, I don't like it. It's okay, but I can do something about it. I can tap into that I'm okay, and I can take action in a way that will be positive. And maybe that action step is to not take action, and then I'm okay with that too. Right? A few years ago, actually many years ago, when we were in a serving in one of the ministries that we have over the years, there was a gentleman. We were in fellowship time, and they had a big fellowship room in this church, and there's a man across the room that I could see one day, and he had lost his wife within the last year and really having a hard time with it, understandably so. And I saw him one day, and I thought, oh, I just felt like I need to go connect with him. I need to go just kind of touch in with him and see where he's at, see how he's doing today. And so I'm walking across this long room, and all of a sudden I have this vision of, like, it's kind of like this Rolodex of possibilities just kind of flipped before me. And this realization, like, there are an infinite number of ways that I could interact with him right now. And they're all okay. And so which one am I going to choose? I don't know. I could get stuck in my head trying to figure it out. I could go, well, here's number one, here's number two, but the room wasn't that big. I didn't have much time, so I just got real present, and I asked him how he was doing, and he shared with me, and you know, it was just giving that presence and that support. But I couldn't do that if I were in my head. That difference, like in our meditation, between focusing on the thoughts going through our mind versus just being present right here. So one of the ways that we learn how to do that is by taking the time. Taking time to, like we did in our meditation time, to be in touch with it, just kind of hang out with it. And we don't really like doing that as humans, you know? Because there's lots of reasons we don't like doing that, but there, you know, we got other things to do, and probably the biggest thing that I hear from people about why they don't meditate is that, well, I sit down and I can't really meditate because my mind is racing. And it's like, well, that's okay, because your mind is racing whether you're looking at it or not. If it's racing while you're sitting there watching it, I guarantee you it's racing when you're not looking. So just be with it. Let it be okay, because you're not your thoughts. You're not those racing thoughts. You're this. You are this. So be with it. Be with it. One of my favorite studies to talk about is the one a few years ago where these researchers would take the volunteers, and take the subjects and put them in a room all by themselves with nothing else to do, and say, oh, you know what? I have to go check on something. I'll be right back. Oh, by the way, there's this machine over here, and it just gives a little static electrical shock. But anyway, you know, that's just a side note. But anyway, I'll be back in about 20 minutes. 75% of the people who are in that room by themselves chose, instead of just hang out there with themselves, to go give themselves an electrical shock. And probably more than one would be my guess, right? Because, you know, it's so much fun. So we really don't like being with ourselves, because then we have to look at all the things that we don't like about ourselves, right? But if we go back to, what if we assume that we're okay, and all those things that we want to change are just things that we want to change? It's okay. You know, and some of the things we can change more easily than others, but it's okay. It's okay. So to be able to be with ourselves is a powerful place to be, and powerful Is it a skill? Would we call it a skill, a powerful practice? You know, when we first moved to Chicago, I would hear, stories, right? And there's this phrase that would catch me every time. And it was, somebody's telling me a story, and then all of a sudden, and then I went by my friend's house, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm going, okay, so you went by your friend's house, where did you end up? You know, because where I come from, if you go by your friend's house, that means you're headed somewhere else. Because you're just going right by. And you may wave to them if they're standing out in their yard, but that's not where you're stopping because you got somewhere else to go. So I would miss chunks of stories because I thought you were going to your friend's house. Where'd you end up? So now, even 9 years later, I'm going, no, Lynn, that's where they stop. Just stay with it. Stay with the story. So when you're practicing your beingness, don't practice by yourself, because that means yourself is next to you. Be with yourself. You don't want to be by yourself, because if you're by yourself, that person isn't comfortable, and they might administer an electrical shock to you, and you don't want that either. And be with yourself. Be present with yourself. Be present with the good feeling, the peaceful feeling, the love. Be present with the things that you don't like and have compassion for those as well. Because those are part of who you are. Those are part of where you ended up right in this moment. And it's okay. It's okay. And if you need to forgive yourself for ending up right there, then that's okay too. That's part of it also. But be present with yourself. Tara Brach, who is a wonderful teacher, meditation teacher, mindfulness meditation specifically, an author. She's got lots of videos online that are wonderful. She said one time when I was hearing her speak, self-compassion is the new self-esteem. I love that. Self-compassion is the new self-esteem. When you think about it, I grew up in the self-esteem movement, right? It was all about giving kids better self-esteem, because if a kid's not feeling okay with themselves, then we got to do something about it. We got to fix that. You know, if they're not good at math, we got to help them with math so that they have a better self-esteem. But the problem with that is that where does it stop? You know, well, maybe the kid gets good at math, but they really stink at history. So we got to work on that too then. And then it just becomes this long list, right? It's like those pages in those highlight magazines, the doctor's offices, the dentist's offices, where the page that was, find the 20 things wrong in this picture. Circle the 20 things that are wrong in this picture. Like, we don't do that enough as it is, right? So let's practice finding all the things that are wrong in this picture, right? I don't think we should be, I don't think that's a really good game for a kid to play, right? Because, you know, they'll have plenty of time doing that when they're an adult. So self-esteem is just this black hole of the next thing you have to get so that you're okay with yourself. But self-compassion is, hey, I'm really great at math. I stink at geography, but that's what GPSs are for, so it's okay. It's all good. I call my GPS Molly. We're close. So self-compassion, having that acceptance of what is, because that's the place where the guidance can come in for the next thing that we need to do. You know, when we moved here, I had this picture in my mind. I had just graduated probably a year before with my master's degree, and I was thinking, okay, well, here's my plan. My plan is that I'm going to work in a family service agency so I can get my hours, to get my license, so I can practice therapy in Illinois, because it takes 1,000 more hours in Illinois than it did in Michigan, so I've got some work to do. And so I came, and this was in 2009, right, where everybody was hiring. Everybody was hiring. Yeah. I applied, and I applied, and I applied, and I applied. I'm sure 80 places I applied to, and there's nothing. So I remember getting up from the computer one day and just going, all right, God, you told me to get my master's degree. What do you want me to do? Work at Target? I'll work at Target. I like Target. And I plopped down on the couch, and all of a sudden I got this, I was downloaded with information on the Interfaith Counseling Center that we offer here at Unity Northwest, where we have counseling available to people on a love offering basis for 3 visits, and then if they want to continue, they can continue. And I had an appointment, and we talked about it. Dee was board president at the time, and I shared with her this vision and said, I don't know, it just came to me. I don't know what to do with that, but it just feels, it was so clear. It came through so clearly. But it came from in here. I didn't think that up, I promise you. I'm smart, but that came from some kind of creativity that was not in my head. It came from an expression that was much deeper, and we all have that. We all have that. Access to that infinite possibility. And it comes from that acceptance, that clarity, that self-compassion. And so we're going to get in touch with that again, take a few moments to do that. And I want you to just touch in again with something in your life that is causing you any kind of stress or worry, or even feeling bad about yourself, about something. And take on that truth. Assume that truth, that you're okay just the way you are. Feel that in the center of your heart. Feel it emanating in every direction. And then bring that awareness of that issue into that clear space and see if it looks any different. When you feel your attention getting pulled up into your mind that says, yeah, but, just shh, it's okay. That mind is not your center. That heart is your center. And from that beingness, from that place where, whether you're aware of it or not, you live, move, and have your being in this space. And you can even say, thank you, God, for a divine idea, for the resolution of this issue. Because if I'm not seeing it right now, I will, and I can. Because I already own that possibility. It already belongs to me. It's awaiting my awareness, my action, my presence, my faith. And this solid core is something that you take with you. It is you, so you take it with you every moment of the day. So do your part of being more aware of it. Take 5 minutes every day to just be present. No matter what your mind is doing, no matter what your to-do list is saying, just take a few minutes to just be. Be fed by that awareness of those infinite possibilities. And more you listen, the more it strengthens your intuition. And the more your intuition works for you. And that awareness is what we're here for more than anything else on the planet. So we say thank you, God, for growing us, growing our awareness, growing our attention to who we really are. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. And we open to that sanctuary in our hearts. That core of your heart center that is the essence of the infinite love, wisdom, knowledge, and grace of the universe. The DNA of God that belongs to us. To live, move, and have our being awake and aware of that presence, of that power. And I invite you to put your hand on your heart and just feel that physical location. Not that that's the only place that it is, but that's a place where we tend to feel it. When something's right, we feel that power, we feel that peace right there. And notice the difference in attention, in your body awareness when you're focused on the thoughts going through your mind. Notice that your energy goes to your head. And just bring it back to your heart. Perhaps you can feel your heart beating, or simply being aware of your breath coming in and out, lifting your chest, feeling it relax. And then move more deeply into that center of all possibility. That center of spiritual perfection. That gives no umbrance to anything human. No attention. No priority. This place of loving acceptance, of self-compassion, is where all changes can be made. This unchanging place within gives the wisdom and the guidance for changes without. Just for a moment, see if you can pull up that experience of infinite love. So much love. What would that be like to experience love that has no measuring stick? No qualifications, no boundaries. Feel how it expands you. And breathe it in. This is the center of you, the center of your awareness, the center of your consciousness, the center of your potential and possibility. It belongs fully to you. This is the center that Paramahansa Yogananda was speaking of when he said about God, that God's center is everywhere and the circumference nowhere. And this is the center that belongs to you, with no circumference. Feel that expansion that doesn't let you go back to where you were before. It keeps moving you, growing you, guiding you. And you can listen more and more to that quiet voice inside, leading you in the world in ways that are necessary. But more importantly, helping you become more aware of this beingness, this presence that you are. So really feel that right now. Feel the solidity of that place inside of you. Feel how you own it. It belongs to you. And we say, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this powerful presence within us. Thank you for the guidance to use it wisely, but especially to be more aware of it every moment. Thank you, God. And so it is. And now is the time in our service where we receive our offering. So I invite you to place your offering in your hands, and we're going to use this statement to bless those offerings. From the center of my being I give, and from the center of my being I receive. I'm going to say this alone one more time. From the center of my being I give, and from the center of my being I receive. Together. From the center of my being I give, and from the center of my being I receive. And silently. And aloud one more time. Together. From the center of my being I give, and from the center of my being I receive. And so it is. Thank you, God. Amen.